Yeah, the lighting's not gonna hit.
Yes, I am. I'm trying to get That's right, that's right. Well, so the way that I have a college degree is that I decided to do a good idea foreign language requirement by taking the 2-year teaching thing. And then class, yes. So we went 5 days a week. Within a week and a half, my professor looked at me, he was unfair, and he was like, I will take that and get you a D in this class. You can only show up on Mondays and get you a assignment and struggle on Friday and actually verbally get the assignment. And that's what I did, and I got my D. The minute, and the reason it took a week and a half was I had not met with my advisor, so the whole time I'm like, I'm not going to get a free. There's no way I'm getting a free. Went in and my advisor was like, oh. And I was like, I can do that. I can do that. Do you agree?
Spanish for 2 semesters.
I worked with somebody that was taking an online class with his brother, and that's the only way his brother graduated. And I was like,
yeah, it's the aesthetic of the flow.
yeah, no. I was like, I think there's probably some ethical code.
Yeah.
But
something extend ego.
And my Spanish minor and my friend who was like stuck in, lived in Spain for a minute. Taught my actual in Spain, Spanish, standing behind me, going, no, God, Christ, stop it.
Alright, everybody, ready to get started?
It's dinner time.
Alright, so obviously this is the final round. It features Jonathan Christie from Truman State University going the affirmative. And Alex Rivera from Western Kentucky University on the negative. We have 4 incredible judges, Noah Mazzarelli from John Carroll University, Dr. Doggett from Millsdale College, Tyler Slinkard from Central Missouri, and Dustin Greenwald. Is it Dr. Greenwald?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Greenwald from Penn State University. Really excited to have before you judge this round, and thank you so much for volunteering your time. And then the other ballot will be cast by most of the participants of the run robin. Obviously, with your teammates up there, you're not judging. So that would leave us with 8 participants, and Zach Zenda volunteered to take the L, so we'd have an odd number, so we wouldn't have the horrible situation of a completely tied final round. That would be very, very sad and a pretty big fail. Awesome. So thank you, Zach. Clap it up. All right, so pretty standard rules apply in terms of being an audience member. Please turn off your cell phones. Please, watch, listen, be quiet, and don't say anything during the round. And with no further ado, I relinquish the round to our chair, Dr. Doggett. I hope you have an awesome time.
Are y'all ready?
Does anybody want the speech strap? Probably everyone.
I guess I should put this picture.
Capital Q, capital F, capital F, capital P, capital X, lower T. capital Q, capital F, capital P, capital X, lower T. That's how I should put it. Can everybody hear me? All good? Awesome. Alright, so let's get going.
Contention 1 is inherency. A. While the power exists, Cyber Command hacking capabilities don't get used. Bing and 18. Obama and Trump administrations have made decisions allowing Cyber Command to escape NSA shadow, yet the government appears to be desperately avoiding cyber conflict with Russia or any other entity. Cyber Command's full capabilities are only increasing in war stories, serves of interference in U.S. networks by Chinese and other foreign hacking groups. B is planned. The United States federal government shall instruct the U.S. Cyber Command to engage in offensive cyber operations against Iran and China. Contention 2 is solvency. A. Cyber Command is necessary for hackback and prevent conflict. Naked 18. In the event of destructive or disruptive attacks or circumstances, counteroffensive operations are the only means to stop the attacks. Companies cannot engage in disruptive activity of their own networks. Private companies hacking back and start wars that military would need to finish. There are circumstances the U.S. might want offensive capability to collect intelligence in order to help protect critical infrastructure. There's no way the U.S. government critical infrastructure companies to carry out the real-time coordination work for the Cyber Command. The U.S. will need to institute a process for determining when to provide the form of assistance. The creation of a classified network for critical infrastructure and instituting new policies that will make it possible for the companies that own and operate infrastructure to hold clearances connected to the Cyber Command will provide for the right private sector wants intelligence on threats and a counteroffensive capability while maintaining government responsibility. And B, the U.S. should focus on a strong offense over the current defensive strategy. Solmeyer and 18. The United States has been the victim of repeated cyber attacks by foreign powers, and it seems to have little power to stop them. The focus on cyber deterrence is understandable but misplaced. Seeking merely to deter enemies, the United States finds itself constantly in the backbone. Instead, the United States should be pursuing a more active cyber policy when aimed at disrupting the capabilities. In cyber warfare, Washington should recognize the best defense is good offense, and it's virtually impossible to know if deterrence is working. If the United States hopes to win, it should spend less time trying to persuade its competitors that it's not worth hacking, and more time preempting them and degrading their ability to do so. The United States should be ready to take more offensive action. U.S. hackers could pursue a campaign of erasing due to scale, disabling accounts and credentials used by hackers to attack and cutting off access to services that is harder to compromise systems. Such a campaign would aim to make every aspect of hacking much harder, targeting these would sabotage their capabilities or render them otherwise useless. But the United States enemies already attacking online, the country will need to be more proactive than it's been thus far. Next is Advantage 1, Iran. Sub A. Devastating cyber attacks from Iran are imminent. Nothing stopping them from non-stop cyber warfare against the U.S. Pearl Roth and 18. Trump's decision to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal would lead to a surge in retaliatory cyber attacks from Iran. Within 24 hours, Trump announced the U.S. would lead the deal. Research has seen a notable shift in the Iranian cyber attacks activity. Iranian hackers were sending malware to diplomats, U.S. allies, and employees trying to infiltrate their computer systems. Iranian hackers in recent years demonstrated an increasingly sophisticated arsenal of digital weapons. Cybersecurity experts believe quickly expanded to businesses and infrastructure in the United States. After the United States signed economic sanctions against Iran in 2012, state-sponsored Iranian hackers retaliated by disabling the websites of nearly every major U.S. bank of what is known as a denial-of-service attack. There is evidence that Iranian hackers may have been responsible for a string of attacks against several Saudi petrochemical plants. U.S. officials suspect the Iranian hackers also played a role in a more serious attack that was the first step in attacks designed to trigger a chemical explosion are used in thousands of other installations, including nuclear plants. The Saudi Arabia attack was a training for a future attack on infrastructure and an energy company in the United States. There is little deterrent to stop them from trying. And B, U.S. nuclear weapon systems are highly vulnerable to cyber attacks. McCaskill and 18. U.S. nuclear weapon systems are increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks. Nuclear weapon systems were developed before the advancement of computer technology. Little consideration was given to potential cyber vulnerabilities. Current nuclear strategy overlooks the use of technology. Nuclear systems, nuclear weapon systems are at the threat of hostile states. Likelihood of cyber attacks on nuclear systems is relatively high. Increase from advanced persistent threats from state groups. Besides, U.S. nuclear TID missiles are vulnerable to cyber attacks. Their pathway through actors may infiltrate nuclear weapon systems without a state's knowledge. And C, nuclear missiles can easily be hacked and launched in a matter of minutes. Well in 15. Our nuclear missiles could be hacked, launched, and detonated without authorization, leading to mass fatalities and the millions of lives lost in the early stages of the nuclear war. We keep hundreds of missiles on hair trigger alert that enables the launch of a fully armed nuclear weapons in under 15 minutes. Indeed, hacking into nuclear weapon systems would cause escalation in nuclear war. Griffin and 18. Hackers could use nuclear weapons to accidentally launch against other countries' systems and a number of vulnerabilities that allow cyber attackers to break in and use them to trigger deadly nuclear weapons. Cyber attacks on nuclear weapon systems could cause an escalation which results in their use. Cyber vulnerabilities for the nuclear weapon system destruction present a whole set of dangers and risks. Cyber attacks could lead to the deliberate misinformation and the inadvertent launch of nuclear weapon systems. Cyber vulnerabilities within nuclear weapon. The most devastating military threat comes from nuclear war started by miscalculation. Accidental nuclear wars almost happened many times already with thousands on hair trigger alert and ready to launch. And E, an accidental launch will lead to retaliatory strikes and extinction within half an hour. Minton 01. In no more than 2 minutes, Russia or the U.S. can launch missiles at Washington or Moscow. Early warning system will detect the other side's missile within 10 seconds, causing the accidental enemy to mount retaliatory strike within half an hour. There can be nuclear war that would extinguish all of us. Advantage 2 is China. A. Chinese hacking continues with no U.S. action. Reynolds in 18. With attention focused on Russia, we need more attention to meddling done by China. China's the biggest threat in general. The Chinese were fingering up a massive 2015 attack that was so damaging that was cyber Pearl Harbor. It's not as if China stopped. China's main intelligence agency is focused on influence operations. B. Chinese hackers are moving towards satellite military operations. Reuters in 18. Hacking campaign launched from China burrowed deeply into satellite operators, defense contractors in the United States. The effort driven by national espionage such as interception of military communication disrupted satellites, leave military installations subject to huge real-world disruptions. And C. One satellite hack will destroy entire systems and cause lashouts. Haskins in 18. Satellites prime target for cyber attacks and get access to the satellite system and manipulate where the satellite goes or what it does, essentially disabling it. If the satellite is knocked out of orbit, the debris can create a domino effect and damage other satellites with the number of satellites up to triple mistakes never been higher. Governments who face pressure to identify perpetrator, including governments, don't want to always get it right, and innocent parties take the fall. All in all, Ukraine, this is self-defense. You basically justify whatever response you do. D. Trump will retaliate a satellite attack with a space war. Bender and Climax 18. China a year ahead of the United States in developing the means to destroy satellites in the event their space lifeline is cut on total collateral damage to spread of battlefields on Earth. Defense Secretary warned an attack on space systems should not be considered an improbable act. Trump's recent call for establishing Space Force, my new national strategies for space recognizing the space war is divided domain. Trump said, any harmful interference with components of our space architecture will be met with a deliberate response of our choosing. We have a president that we have to expect that space will be a war-fighting domain. When the Pentagon talks about a space war, it doesn't mean troops, celestial camouflage. The conflict may take forms of potential for an actual physical attack. That means the shots fired in space, the United States may fight back in other means. And space war goes nuclear. Reuters in 16. Scenarios may read like science fiction. Space war harbor sneak attack on U.S. satellites, cripples American forces before a shot has been fired. The Pentagon thinks years of war to war in space would be had staggering implications. And although such conflict might start in space, experts say it needs to turn to a full-scale war on Earth. If war is not in space someday, the first nuclear response is not going to be in space.
Okay. Anyone not ready? How does the app ensure that there are no hackbacks against the hackbacks?
Sure. So the Solmeyer evidence is really good on this question, saying that the cyber command specifically can take out the operations and capabilities of these hackers and make it to where they're unable to hack us once
So
again.
the affirmative is contingent upon a single hack by the United States literally collapsing another person's cyber retaliatory system.
That works. Also, we have intelligence agencies that know exactly what they're working on in their hacking operations, and we can hack them before they
Intelligence
attack.
agencies is actually my next question. How do you attribute hackers?
How do you attribute them?
How do you say Iran hacked us?
Because we have defense capabilities that identify them. Additionally, the
No, what evidence do you have that says
Yeah.
they correctly identify?
Sure, the Thoroth evidence indicated multiple scenarios in which they specifically identified Iranian hackers. Additionally, in the China scenario, the Reuters evidence
So my
indicates
question
that
is-
China is specifically
okay.
moving into hacking satellites.
Right. My question is, when they get it wrong, and I'm sure that they will eventually, what happens to those countries that you just wanton start attacking?
Well, first of all, they're not just going to hack into random computer systems. I don't think you're going to have evidence saying like, oh, we're just going to hack every computer in Iran. What they're going to do.
Yeah, I guess that's my question. So you misattributed an attack to Iran that happened from some like rogue hacker. Does that mean that you like devastate Iran for no reason?
I mean, this is like a great argument you can run, but I'm not going to stand up here and contend with you like, oh yeah, we're just going to hack like every possible system we can. I'm going to contend that my evidence is pretty good saying.
I'm glad you think it's a great argument. So why is hackback key to solve Iran? Like, why are non-violent means like anti-proliferation agreements of cyber weapons key to resolve when things, in context of things like the Iran deal?
Sure. So the Thoroth evidence indicates that whenever we ended the recent sanctions on Iran just this past summer, what inevitably happened was Iran immediately started hacking against the United States. In fact, it said within 24 hours of Trump announcing the U.S. would leave the deal, researchers had seen a notable shift in Iranian cyber activity. Iranian hackers were sending malware to diplomats of U.S. allies and employees.
Where's the source?
It's pretty clear. Thoroth and 18.
From, like, who's identifying?
Sydney Morning Herald.
Okay, that's a really quick source. Where does Reynolds say that? We'll see. The Reynolds piece of evidence says that Chinese hacking continues with no U.S. action. Where does the evidence indicate that offense is the only way to resolve that issue?
Yeah, that would be the B card on solvency. That would be the Solmeyer evidence indicating that deterrence and just defensive actions have not been working in the past, which is why countries like Iran and China continue to attack us.
Yeah,
So
but the Reynolds evidence says that U.S. action needs to occur, not that U.S. offensive action needs to occur. So is there no way for the United States to work out, say, like a diplomatic deal? That
It says the United States should be ready to take more offensive action.
in the Reynolds evidence?
I'm not saying Reynolds evidence, I'm talking about the Solmeyer.
Yeah, I guess I'm just asking about the Reynolds evidence because in the context of that part, it just says that you need some sort of action to be taken to resolve cyber.
Is that the question? I mean, I'm going to cross-apply my Solmeyer evidence and say that it's clearly indicating that offensive action is the only possible method in which the cyber command can be effective to stop hackers.
That's not. Okay. The order is one off, then case in the order of solvency, Iran, China.
What's the case order again?
Solvency, Iran, then China. Alright, is anyone not ready? Ready?
First off is the critique. The 1AC rationalizes the strategic choices of securitization, necessitating a nihilistic spiral of violence by framing means as instruments of destruction. Burke in 2007. The form of the existential rationalist ontology of the war bound so hard to include the claim for an ideation or hegemony. The dual ontology represents simultaneously social conceptual structure that generate violence, each looking or an escalation. They reenacting the framing of technology being which is really utilitarian instruments for use, control, and destruction of power to workforce. Neither produces the linear system effects matching the strategic theory nor security, but rather a nihilistic spiral of pain and punishment. Scientific claims of mythological truth, error, reliability, and policy action in terms of larger ontological claims and natural being, instrumental violence, spirit, and ontology, and insecure national existence. No, active strategy claims to achieve an impact, calculated effects, or fit purposes, security, being strategies, and being not merely becomes an intrinsic power, but ontologizes itself, and other humans would have not have or integrity as their value as objects. This chain is obviously at work, the path forward to safety is the path of action, no dominant understanding of politics, war, tragedy, violent choice will continue to be made in framing, come to define what being a driver, the possibility for feeling being in the ontology of security, orchestrates a cycle of fearful anticipation and violent response. Calculative ordering is the root cause of existential threats. Burke in 2007. War is not enduring anthropologic future or neutral rational energy halls, rather the product and hegemonic forms of valid violent ontology, dominant conceptual policy framework of modern states intended for reasoning and framing worldviews comes to that for being itself and framing the possibility of revealing and framing people denied them the more original revealing the military power of modern ontology and political security to be by an overarching system of thinking, understanding the way so there tries to truth and exist in the destructive futures of modernity, militarism, government, innovation, economic exploitation, ecological destruction, divide from capital discourse to scientific and political truth, and energy being within a post-logical universe, choice to become necessity, action, inevitability, and humans suffer and die. Available choice to make simply being incredible religion by which preordained militarism and violence is necessary, however ineffective or chaotic. In this regime of calculability is a particular mode of revealing which reduces the earth to standing reserve, locking in global warming, resource exploitation, and colonial violence. George in 2015. The modern subject potential human for being some modern technological justification, modern technology reveals the reals of standing reserve resource, nothing but pure resource to technological reduction now, and influx the multiple reserve globally expanding system of calculative rationality, multiple orderings, and planetary ship colonization, and realistic motive, technology, not mere human needs, domination of the way, revealing technological domination, and earth spreading increasing fast world referencing more totally through the marketing, meaning, and necessity, and to a sphere of calculation, increase while being some capital, nature of production, like the inhabitants of the earth, and uniform, and the promise of just inequality is the driver of this project, but the generation of further inequality and devastation of the planet is the result, and the alternative is to non-violently refuse the asked call to action. That possibilizes ways of being from calculative ordering. That's drawn in 2011. Current economy and technology seem to stand the whole of the earth is nothing more than a big marketplace subject under the domination of logic of calculative ordering. A whole new era of gigantic computing which the whole of the earth eventually turns into global research to use by ways of greater ordering and efficiency, risks, and sharper ways of criticizing resisting risks. That two such things in the means of production of globalization and neoliberal ideologies are radical and definitely mean to resist the violence, but order to much level of calculative ordering and reduction means the possibility of resistance continue with the construction of a non-violent way. We should not see power-free letting be in its end of itself, but a chance for drawing away from the contemporary ontological mastery and technological level of self-emergency, annihilating the situation over the garden pointing to the this the mastery being as the power of recognition remains us, our awakening possibility from the beginning once the earth and thanks to the birth of that violent manipulation and ordering violent refusal that they feel power of calculative orders is capable of putting aside the violent capturing of the earth, and every revealing is also a concealing and framing the world in calculative modes. Crowds and other forms of being cause a serial policy failure, so you should view the debate not in terms of planned consequence but ontological roadmaps. They are a defense of a particular revealing of the world. That means if we went links and impact alternative solvency is only a question of modifying our thought within debate, allowing the world to reveal itself. Otherwise, solvency. Doing nothing is preferable. Hackbacks result in a spiral of infinite escalation that occurred in 2016. The hacking warned that these attacks are marginal risk for targeted action. Even like the strike back is to create decisive capability instead of an engaging never any threat for tap or digital exchange factors. No decisive and weak attribution enables aggression that preserve release from one cyber attacks and warning attacks is a viable option. And aggressive cyber posturing hikes the probability of escalating flashpoints in this Cal Gomberg and in 2014. Cyber attacks involving danger of escalation of general warfare, the growth of U.S. cyber community, the corporation cyber warfare, employment of people into sliced American regular cyber warfare, so the use of threats from cyber warfare to be low, but the temptation is how the probability of war becomes a function of probability of crisis. The flashpoints are non-probabilities. These conditions make it imperative for leaders to be familiar with invocations that play by birth. Leaders should connect advantage to the cyber within hazards to escalation, and cyber escalation risk is virtually non-existent. Current models and empiricists demonstrate just how unlikely real-world consequences are. That's Ballerina Manis 2018. The cybersecurity administration of understanding basic concepts around the analysis of empirical investing is this off-the-fitting strategy. We have observed restraining escalation and rather these speaking these in the four complex that are well established for warning escalation versus less likely to engage in cyber conflict due to escalation risk and the examination of cyber events from 2013-2016 in Ukraine demonstrate cyber attacks have no impact on battlefield events. Cyber strategies even intensively based likely to develop the absurd or produce escalation risk, and their threats are not real but rather products of faulty risk calculus and industry incentives. This framing perpetuates permanent war and serial policy failure. That's Willish and Aston in 2012. Cybersecurity is first course militarization of online security information warfare understands that ongoing future became program to link to the international environment means that war is essentially become thrown into consortium. Cybersecurity society way of risking posts potential to self-fulfilling prophecy spaces increasingly militarized by various actors, both purely technological capabilities, vulnerabilities, exploiting the faces of possible actors without the consideration of wider political and political legal normative searches that surround these. It also reduces risk calculation driven by possibility rather than probability or intention. Cybersecurity discourse for operations in the power drive and expertise makes harder debate with by the industry and the policy making some of the broader social, political, and international conflicts. They contextualize the cybersecurity. Iran is not a cyber threat category than assumptions while ploy to justify new conservative agenda preemptive bombings and invasion. Lab 2018 report from American media have been circulating that Iran is really likely to conduct cyber attacks in the U.S. The warnings of dubious named ending the U.S. isolation and justifying U.S. preventive counterattacking Iran's infrastructure and the Trump administration overall goal of regime change in Iran. With these experts want to specifically say that no evidence such a exists. We have no specific threat from Iran experts achieving preemptive bombings against Iran, striking the neoconservatives. Iran is in neither intention to cyber war with the United States, nor like the U.S. on suspicion of attackers running for a cyber attack against Iran. Hacking U.S. nuclear weapons impossible. Their air gap sold during 2016. Nuclear arsenals are perfectly difficult to hack and computer. Their computer being on control into the air gap. The hacker would need to do the internal to do the damage. The reason that this is going to last another 40 years. China. The 1AC securitizes against China through a lens of hypocrisy, facilitating the false reality of U.S. victimhood in service of extending American power Turner in 2014. Widely accepted fears of threatening and rising demand are trying to exploit by China's million by different rules, stealing intellectual property, hacking into our computer system, all crackdown on cheaters like China. Similarly, declared the issue population ground could be the clear known for China cheating, hacking important nomads that accept the reality of China's involvement in these areas conspiracy synthesized one. The reality remains that because the United States implicitly and arguably identical practices already without less scrutiny, buried beneath the simply a powerful economist of discourse of gradual world was cheating China's breaking the rules of the United States. Holds in the United States. The United States itself is comparatively active. Next. No China war ad off in 2017. China comes from the release of the considered to increase cyber terms of local studies rigorously theoretically present the war of the false circus, the classical concept of maddening the core Canada, but instead of war, not because U.S. never approached power for years. Right. What's up?
I didn't read Castle of Nevo.
Pretty good. Awesome. So first of all, on the critique, so you claim that I create like securitization against a bunch of like random threats that don't exist, correct? It's like that's the beginning.
The Willis evidence would say that that is necessarily true. Like the way that securitization process happens in cybersecurity is really different. It's not based upon probability but possibility, which we say is a really poor way to categorize threats. Makes it very difficult to debate because experts have industry incentives to debate that way.
So if I prove that like my impact scenarios are rooted in the ideas of probability, I don't want to critique.
No.
Well, that's what you just said. So
Wait, that's not true. You said what was your probability framing argument? I told you what my probability framing argument That doesn't have anything to do with the links to the criticism.
So what's the link?
The link to the criticism is that the affirmative engages in a tit-for-tat war of escalation that makes a nihilistic spiral of violence inevitable. So the way that you've gone about it framing other beings,
Right,
China,
that's-
etc.,
but that's
is an
about-
inherently violent way that
So that's-
necessitates.
I got you. Sure. That's about strategic choices and how we go about securitizing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So how do you not do that with the alternative, saying we need to securitize against like?
The alternative is securitizing the same thing.
No, but I'm saying like, don't you do the same thing?
There's a difference
by saying,
between violently
you can't do
constructing
the
threats
ask
and
because
non-violently constructing threats. So I would
I'll
argue that
finish your
there's
question, you
a
can answer it better. So
okay, go ahead.
don't you feel like if you are saying don't do the app because we need to securitize against global warming and resource exploitation, isn't that in itself a mode of securitization in thought in the ontology of how you're going about solving those problems?
Absolutely not. That is not the way that my evidence would characterize that claim at all. In fact, I say that the way that the evidence characterizes that is that the way that you go about constructing beings as a resource is what leads to economic and environmental exploitation. It's not a question of whether or not we should securitize with particular policies versus the environment. It's a root cause claim about the way you establish the world.
Who does the alternative?
I don't understand. I don't think that you're framing the alternative wrong.
Is it
The
a
alternative is
pre-fiat alternative?
what's the distinction between pre-fiat and post-fiat? My only question is that
I mean,
I think that
you've been
there
doing this
is.
for a while, man. I think you know, like pre-fiat.
So in a
is
real
like,
sense, I think that the alternative does nothing, right? You hear a call to action, you should decide not to act on that call to
Okay.
action and hope in favor of there being a non-violent way for states to act, which we say that there are.
So you also claim that Iran is not a cyber threat; it's just like a plot by neoconservatives, right?
Yeah.
So when a few months ago Iran hacked into our systems and sent malware to U.S. diplomats, that was just made up by neoconservatives.
Yeah, I'd love to see the evidence for that. It's like what
Well,
it's
no,
like
I read it
the
in
Herald
AC.
Sun.
So I
That's
read
like
it. I read
really
it.
nice.
I read it in one AC.
Yeah, and it's the Herald Sun evidence. So if you want to leverage that against me, that's cool. Like, I'll still make the argument that there's industry standards for them to construct these
I
labs.
apologize. The Mint Press is much better.
Yeah, the Mint Press is amazing.
Alright. Sorry for that. Just last part of it.
Yeah.
I got one for you.
It's at 141.
It's going to be solvency, Iran, China, critique, the framework on top of critique.
Sorry, what was that last part?
Framework on top of critique.
Okay.
You wrote framework as a separate sheet of paper.
Okay. Everybody good? Awesome.
He claims a hackback lead to escalation. I want you to extend across my soul my evidence saying that we prevent escalation because we take away the power of other countries to be able to hack us back, even if there's not a possibility for escalation. We posted him on this. His second argument is that cyber leads to posture, which leads to miscalculation. First of all, I saw for miscalculation when other countries like Iran and China are going to be able to hack into us and cause miscalculation. Last time because of the Trump presidency, but also the I-9 uniqueness because China and Iran are literally already hacking other countries. So is Russia, North Korea, and other nation states. That means inevitably that should lead to miscalculation that causes the war they talk about. His third argument is that cyber warfare escalation doesn't actually exist. First of all, it's literally happening right now. You can extend my evidence on the advantage flow that says that Iran and China are literally moving in, us posting them on this in 2018 and hacking back our systems now, meaning that cyber escalation is currently existing. He says that the threats aren't real. I'm going to extend across my pro-route evidence from the Iran flow that says the cyber attacks are imminent right now and that they've been constructed for years, that immediately after leaving the Iran deal, Iran started hacking into U.S. diplomats by sending them malware. Malware. These are literally happening right now. Go to Iran. Just three arguments. One. He says that there's not going to be an Iran war. I don't say that there's going to be an Iran war. I say that Iran is going to hack our nuclear systems and launch them against other countries that leads to miscalculation and lash outs. So, yeah, fine, no Iran war. He also specified that Iran doesn't actually lead to a cyber threat, and that's just a neoconservative measure. My pro-op evidence indicates that literally a few months ago, Iran came in and hacked into our systems and started using malware against U.S. diplomats. These aren't random threats that were constructed by neoconservatives when they're literally happening daily. He also specified that a hack is impossible to our nuclear systems. First of all, the card really just says that it's hard to do. Second of all, my McCaskill evidence says that right now nukes are more vulnerable than they've ever been because new cyber technology is better than the technology from the nuclear codes we're actually put in place, meaning that the current system actually, my evidence post-dates him, and that means that it's not indicative of the current systems that are in place. Additionally, I want you to extend across my Griffin evidence saying that hack leads to escalation of nuclear annihilation because literally countries are going to lash them out, and the Trump presidency means that they're going to lash out against other countries as well. The Mintz evidence goes up to this saying that leads to extinction. Whenever we get to the frameworks in the so very pro China. He makes the arguments on China. First of all, he claims that there's false hypocrisy. Yes, I'm not saying that we should go into China and start a conventional war there. I'm saying that we should hack back the actual attacks that have been done against the United States. It's not hypocrisy. It's always already been going on. The Reuters evidence indicates that China's been hacking satellites and moving into the ability to do so. Additionally, the Reynolds evidence that's getting analyzed saying that China's been hacking us for years now, and that Xi Jinping has literally been intentionally trying to go after U.S. infrastructure because he sees it as a possibility to take out U.S. hegemony leadership in the region. Additionally, he tries to say that there's no cyber war with China. Again, I'm not saying we're going to get into an actual cyber war. I'm saying the Haskins evidence indicates that satellites are going to lead to a lash out because as soon as one satellite is attacked, that means that Trump is going to lash out against other countries. We have a South Park character as our president right now, and the BNK evidence that the decode of China indicates that Trump will lead to a space war, as he literally said in the public. The Rover evidence also goes on to saying that that's going to lead to nuclear annihilation because other countries are going to lash out immediately because of the new forefront of warfare that's going to be created as a result of a space war occurring. He doesn't have any actual defense on this. All of his offense or defense on the affirmative is strictly based in criticism and threat construction. If I prove threat construction not bad, over half of his defense goes away. Yeah, go okay. First. Framework. I did not solve the critical problems of the affirmative cyber attacks through the restricting the policy framework, and even my solutions are perfect. The policy framework is best. And two, we can show uniqueness. Academia is being dominated by those who don't want to engage in policy make now. We need to engage in policy relevance instead of intellectual window dressing. Mankin and 10. Among social scientists, there's a modern support for the engagement on policy recent surveys. So I found that 49% of respondents believe they should contribute to the policy making process. Policymakers need to be willing to really list risk for policy. And 3. Time for bar impacts makes your arguments relevant. Policy relevance is key. Mankin and 10. Although policymakers will benefit from academic experts and equally good scholars will benefit from policymakers such experience with leading more useful theories. Theories conform to the norms and incentives of the academic professor rather than policy scholarships often impenetrable to outsiders argument because the intent for the consumption more useful theories would deal with policy making policy process, and that's policymakers tend to be conservative specific across some policymakers do not have the luxury of waiting for all the facts, but the facts. And The role of the ballot is to save the most lives and isolate which plan helps increase the most value of the most. And 5, F wins because the consequences first. Matheny and 7, human extinction will likely condemn all sentience and terrestrial origin. Extinction would be reasonable to take an extraordinary mission to protect humanity from the same. If we survive in the next few centuries, we will probably survive on Earth to colonize space in this first century. The surviving any life for the trillions of years. This new few centuries will cause the most critical in our past future when incidents of conflict arise. We have to prioritize project rather than reduce extinction risk. And our ethic provides fundamental value to human life, being responsible for the lives through policy actions justifies our own existence. This is Bravo 99. The other, I mean, this isn't actually skip that card. Also, prior focus on ontology causes paralysis. Having a good enough knowledge is sufficient condition for action. Prato Chwill, 2008. A pragmatic approach does not begin with ontology, but with acting historical beings placed in the specific situation. We cannot have the luxury of deferring decision until we have the truth that we have to act on this, and must do so always under the time pressure in the face of incomplete information. The social world is characterized by the situation that is, but the split premium of diagnostic shortcoming in actors. Cut the card there. Also, Kern do both. Their criticism of our approach to international relations must be grounded in policy change. Hansen and Nissenbaum in 2009. Constituting something as a security problem simultaneously defining something as not a significant consequence that endows the problem with the status priority that non-security problems do not have. It is therefore the critical to security studies engaged in the conceptualization of security that are mobilized within policy discourse. Even the conclusions argue that the implications of such security discourse are problematic. And he tries to claim the threat construction and calculation is what leads to the impact. The threat construction and calc is good. The only question is whether you use calculation together, which we do. Their ethical leads to co-optation. Derrida in 2002. Excessive justice over calculation should not be served as the alibi for saying out of a judicial politics battle. The incalculable idea of justice so close towards what can always be reappropriated about reverse calculation. Not only what must calculate, but he should advance the politicization obliges one who reads and reinterpret the very foundation of laws. All reappropriation of international law theories must constantly open up. Also, based on my framework, he doesn't give any form of counter framework about why you prioritize the role of the ballot. The only thing you're going to prioritize is saving the most lives. And inevitably, that means you vote affirmative because there's no way he's going to be able to solve. Both impacts on the affirmative are going to be disads to the alternative that he can't solve back for. Additionally, he can't solve back for any of the other work. Like, if you believe policy action first, you don't buy any of his alternatives.
Okay. 4 minutes of prep starting now.
So the order is going to go. So the order is going to go case in the order of solvency first. Then it's going to be Iran. Then it's going to be China. And it seems to me that all those arguments are sort of framework arguments. So I guess it'll be the case proper. But like I floated on a separate sheet, but now it doesn't seem like that makes sense. So it's just going to be like down the line by line overview at the top of the sheet when I get there. But then. Anyone need that order again? No new evidence. Alright, anybody not ready?
Solvency debate extended to the Wilson 12 piece of evidence that says that threat construction happens as a result of industry incentives. Your argument is that the Iran threat has been imminent for years. We say that this hasn't manifested in any particularly strong threats against the United States or any material impact cybersecurity. Isn't really a threat. It just holds a possibility of insecurity that results in industry standards for them to translate that into a high probability, which is extraordinarily difficult to debate against the will. And 12 evidence says because people write about it. Academics are incentivized to write about it in that context. There is literally financial incentives for people to construct threats as a result of the industry and the military-industrial complex as a whole, which is probably a high reason to come into skepticism with what was going on. We'll go in more closer line by line on the Iran advantage. Go there now. The weapon piece of evidence we read out of the 1C said that it's a neoconservative ploy to justify things like justify the bombings and sort of intervention in Iran. You so extend this Perloff 18 piece of evidence, which says they have attacked us multiple times. The web evidence would indicate that this is not really much of a threat, but rather just a ploy to allow the United States to continue to intervene within the region. Obviously, a small country like Iran isn't enough to totally decimate the United States' ability to interact in the cyber realm, but it would be constructed as not to allow the United States to continue to do so, provide a justification for it to do so. Go to the China piece of evidence. The Truman 14 is also illustrious of this claim. You're saying your argument is not really responsive. Our argument is that your evidence is always going to construct China as a threat to justify the United States moves towards supremacy. Not necessarily that they haven't been hacking, etc. Our argument here is that the United States has to construct China as an exceptional threat in order to justify the military expenditures, etc. that we do in the realm of cybersecurity. You also don't answer the second warrant on the Act on the 17 piece of evidence that said that China is really far behind the United States in terms of cyber war, which is in terms of cyber capabilities, which is probably the reason why there's terminal impact defense on the China front. Okay, proceed. Every revealing is a concealing, which means that every debate round is an opportunity to reveal the world in a violent way and conceal a non-violent way. I'll explain the ontology debate here because I think it can get kind of confusing. The way that we view people, things, and here determines our material interactions with them. For example, there is a difference between viewing a tree as a potential source of warmth for your family and an IKEA CEO determining if you can grind the tree, add 20% baking soda, potentially make 328 coffee tables instead of 300. The act is a challenge on the human being in much the same way as an instrument and reserve of violence to be drawn from. The affirmative reveals means to the calculative order and security, reducing people down to reserves of capital capable of being strategically drawn from to maintain the U.S. liberal hegemony project. Things like retaliation is useful insofar as it challenges beings to invoke their power to kill. Even the way they categorize national security threats rationalizes a nihilistic spiral of punishment and escalation that merely replicates the affirmative and creates a role orientation that necessitates violence. The ontological view of the world reduces Earth and its inhabitants to a standing reserve, which starts charging 15 evidence reserves, nothing but pure resource to be used up by greater orderings and efficiency, walking in colonial violence and environmental extinction. The alternative is not an endless deferral of political orientation, but rather a breaking of calculative thought that allows the value of non-violent social relations to emerge. Ask yourself, does the affirmative really make the world a more sustainably better place? The answer to that question is no. We have hope that the alternative allows a more non-violent revealing of beings to emerge, in which there can be better politics that emerge from that, that doesn't allow states to act in a violent way. Arguments that we make on the top are all about policy relevance first. It's not an infinite deferral of policy action. Doing nothing is very policy relevant, and if you believe that there's a better world that's applicable to than the world of the affirmative, then it's a reason to vote for the critique. Second, we allow nonviolent relations to emerge as a result of the criticism, which necessarily solves back a lot of the positive claims that you're making about there being threats in the status quo. We say that security is the root cause of those threats. The way to cause those threats to go away is to allow nonviolent relations to emerge, which can't when you construct things violently. The alternative argument that you make is that the role of the ballot is for people to say the most lies. We indict the frame of that question in which you arrive here. It's not that lies are good or bad. Our argument is that we also probably access this through our standing reserve argument, because even though you say consequences because extinction, consequences due to extinction, securitization, and standing reserve isn't a sustainable strategy. We access this argument because we're saying that the way that you reduce things is not something that's environmentally sustainable or sustainable in terms of persons operating in the world, or an orientation towards violence is sustainable. Your private rule in 1887 says that ontology paralysis is not sufficient to interact with policy. It's not infinite deferral, that political deferral. That is the overview that we read. It doesn't preclude policy action. It is non-violent. I'm not making a statement about future debate rounds. I'm making a statement about this debate round. The affirmative is bad, and you should vote against it. The argument you make is firm to both ground and ground politics and political change. A couple of answers here. The revealing of being is also a concealing of other modes of revealing. If we are winning the ontology debate, the idea of a permutation is a link where the alternative is concealed in favor of the violence of the afterenders, unable to be interrogated. You can't both view a human being as a reserve of violence to be drawn from, but also viewing them non-violently. The act conceals a non-violent social relation. There's no real net benefits to the firm anyway. The act would never happen in the world of the alternative. Anything else is an abusive intrinsic firm which still has no net benefit, because the negative is all offensive. What the affirmative leads to. The last argument you make is that threat construction and calculation is good if it stays together. I don't think you do. Your argument here, the argument we're making of this tit-for-tat relationship, is that it is a never-ending cycle or spiral of violence, and rather there's a way to go about it through the alternative that could allow sort of a non-violent way to happen. You just justify the affirmative through your atrocities of literally collapsing other nations that could potentially be entirely misattributed. There's no a coherent threat from things like Iran, etc.
I think that the affirmative is really messed up.
Yeah, 141. Solvency, Iran, China, critique.
One of your judges was in the bathroom.
My fault.
Can you give that order one more time?
Jonathan.
Salt, Iran, China, We're good?
He extends one side of the argument saying that their construction from industry incentives and that way will never be able to solve. You can extend across the data evidence from the framework goal saying that construction calculations go because it's the only way that we can question whether or not how the best way to save other people around the world. That means that only through the affirmative are we actually able to find the best possible way to be able to solve. Also, his evidence isn't indicative of the affirmative when literally these threat constructions are occurring in the status quo and we have empirical evidence of them actually occurring. Also,
Yes, we have it. Go to Iran.
his only argument on Iran is that neoconservatives are going to continue to perpetuate it again. If I literally cite in my pro-Roth evidence that they have been doing it since the accords recently ended with the sanctions ending, and they have literally done training exercise on other Middle Eastern countries where they said Saudi Arabia, where they hacked into their nuclear facilities as a training exercise for the United States and publicly said so, that is a clear indication that we are not randomly threat constructing for neoconservative viewpoints. These are direct analysis empiricals about how they are accessing into the United States mainframe and doing so. You can extend across the analysis here from the last speech with Griffin and immense evidence going to contest meaning that half-act lead to escalation of nuclear miscalculation which leads to extinction. Doesn't contest that? That's unmitigated. Go to China. He only makes two arguments. First of all, he tried to say, I don't answer that China's far behind. No, I do answer that with the Reuters evidence says that China recently began hacking satellites and has the capacity to do so now, and the Reynolds evidence when I indicate that China's been hacking the United States for years. That's a clear indication that they are not buying the United States, but they've been doing so for a while now. He also tries to claim that we always create threat construction against China because of for military expenditures. You can extend across the Reuters evidence once again that China's literally been doing so currently, and the Reynolds evidence of that we have empirical proof that they've been doing it empirically. You can extend across the DNK evidence that Trump is going to lead to a space war and cause lash out as soon as one satellite's hacked. He never answered this back. The Broder evidence also is uncontested. I just need to win a 1% chance to be by the framework of a policymaker first because that means you preclude all offense on the one I see over the criticism and the alternative. Here's an overview on the framework. First, he draws my role about. He doesn't give you another one, meaning that he represents the most amount of lives and who you should vote for. He also doesn't answer that he never said the policymaking itself is bad. So that means whoever has the best method of accessing policymaking should win your ballot. When he's talking to Mankin evidence that says time frame makes all of his alternative impacts relevant, and that policy relevance is key because it's the only way that we can access the time frame of these impacts. He does not answer that coming out of the last speech, meaning that you prioritize the entirety of the one I see. Additionally, the Matheny evidence does get enough analysis when it says you need to evaluate consequences first. If we can't evaluate consequences, we can't engage ontology because we don't know the best way of engaging that ontology without recognizing what needs to be fixed. The only way to get that is through calculated thought, like the 1AC does. He never answers that back. Also, he tries to say, oh, you can extend across my proto-shell evidence that says ontology is bad. He said that it's not a preclude, it's just a statement of this debate ground. That means he doesn't say policymaking is necessarily bad, meaning he should have access to ontology through some type of policymaking framework when he's conceding that. That means inevitably, if there is a threat there is a possibility that a threat is real, you immediately vote affirmative because we are able to access the ontology. Go to the firm. He only has targets. He said that there's no net benefit. It doesn't say exactly how. He saw back for the affirmative and for the ontology negative. He just said that it couldn't exist. But if he said that if we don't need to reject policymaking, that means we can find the best assumptions out of the ontology to get rid of while still doing the affirmative. Meaning we can still access the securitization framework. It's all back over also song for the act.
All right, thank you all for watching. While the judges deliberate, I'm going to offer some thank yous. Thank you, obviously, to my team for holding it down while I was tapping the tournament. To our graduate assistants, John Solomon and James Baugh. To all the other coaches in the WKU forensics team for helping me out this week. And also to our administration. I see Dr. Caponi came in. Without the administration at WKU, there's no way that we could ever hold events like this or also participate in activity that we love so much. So thank you to everyone and give them a round of applause. Okay, so we're going to do speaker awards. Our speaker awards are named after a really awesome person named Fannie Gray. I'm going to have our graduate assistant, Elsa Kager, come up and say a few words about it.
first of all, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you've enjoyed your time on the Hill. So, a few years ago, WKU started giving out an award in honor of Danny Ray, who was the Director of Forensics at Marshall University. For those of you who did not know Danny, he was usually the guy with giant suspenders walking around a tournament who was loud and always laughing and acting absurd and was just loving on everyone around him. So I miss Danny greatly, and I'm so happy that there is an award in his honor. Back in 2010, Danny Ray took the job as Director of Forensics. He actually competed for the team back in the 80s. So whenever he took the job in 2010, he really tried to build the team up from the ground because we didn't have anything else. We didn't have any people, we didn't have any coaching, we didn't have any resources. So Danny literally dug it from the ground and created an entire team. He recruited, he reached out to other teams. He really tried to learn how to do college forensics in this era. So in 2013, Danny Ray decided he was going to host NFA. After 3 years of being on the circuit, and y'all know that NFA is a beast. There are so many things that go into hosting a national tournament. Danny Ray placed the bid and did not tell our administration. So whenever he went to the administration said, well, we're not going to host this tournament. And for those of you who know Danny Ray, he said, well, I don't know what to tell you because we have 2,000 people showing up on this campus in a couple months. And the administration said, okay, and they canceled class, and they also created a class so that people could help do tournament prep, and it counted for like actual credits. So that was who Danny Ray was as a person. He valued this community, he valued comprehensive forensics, and that's what he stood for. And that's what really put Marshall University on the map, because that was the first year our team won an award in NFA. And just a year later, we became a top 15 program. And shortly after, and we became a top 15 program, and it was year after year after year. So I just want everyone to know who Danny was and what he stood for and why this award is put in his name. And I'll just hand that over to Ted.
The award, 3 speaker awards. Third place, from Western Kentucky University, Anthony Cervantes. In second place, from Western Kentucky University, Alex Rivera. And your top speaker at the 2018 Alexis Elliot Robin goes to Truman State University's Jonathan Christie. Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about the namesake of the round robin tournament. So, for those of you who don't know, Alexis Elliot was a member of the WKU forensics team who we lost almost 5 years ago now. She was a fierce competitor, and she would have loved an opportunity to be in something like this. So when we created the round robin, it was a natural fit to name it in memory of her. Because of her love of competition. She was the kind of person that would, before the round, give you a message, and the message would just say, punish. But with punish, the I would have a heart over it. And that exemplified Alexis. She was incredibly competitive, she loved to win, but she never forgot that in the pursuit of victory, you also have to have heart and love for the people that you are competing against. You have to have consideration for the judges who are judging the events that you're competing in. And you have to have love for the world around you and use what you're doing to benefit the campus communities that you come from, and also the world beyond those campus communities. So that's just a small sliver of the kind of competitor that Alexis was. She was a teammate that never would not be there for you, and she was the kind of person who would always admit when she lost, but also would brag a little bit when she won. So I hope that that small piece kind of inspires you for the upcoming season. We created the Memorial Round Robin with the intention of showcasing the nation's most competitive Lincoln Douglas commanders of the season. This crop was amazing. They won over 60 rounds at the NFA National Tournament last season. They have over 30 national elimination debates at the NFA Tournament over the course of their season. Half of last year's semifinal round was in this year's round robin. It was an incredibly competitive experience, and we hope that the debates that go online, the debates that you saw this weekend, the experiences that you had, propel you forward for the entire competitive season. So I'm going to announce the fourth and third place, the two top non-advancing competitors from their pods. Really give it up to these people because it was grueling within these pods. So in fourth place, Truman State University's Tyler Bamer. And in third place, Western Kentucky University's Anthony Cervantes. Okay, so I'm going to go try to find the all the
We can't submit our ballots.
If you just want to write your,
Oh no.
just like one,
Oh, okay.
and we can go that.
Tallies.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got
Dog is
it.
gonna know who I voted for. Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That's,
no one peek.